All right, so we're going to write down GEMDAS. We're not going to make it all fancy today, but just remember that you have grouping, then you do your exponents, you multiply, and divide from left to right. Okay, and then you add and subtract from left to right. Okay, now we have that there. Okay. So today, like I said, we're adding in that grouping, okay? Yesterday we just focused on multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting, but we're going to add that grouping in. So let's take a look. Is that for Q Mars? Right here. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at grouping symbols real quick before we move on, because there's a lot of different types of grouping. Well, not a ton, but definitely more than just parentheses. Okay. So you'll see grouping, of course, that looks like this. Okay. So parentheses is one type of grouping. I don't remember how to spell parentheses. Let me see. Okay. Parentheses. Okay, there we go. That's one type of grouping. Another type of grouping, which you won't see a whole lot of, but its absolute value can be a grouping symbol as well. You could have negative absolute value, 5 minus 10, all divided by 4. Okay. This can act as a grouping symbol. And then another type of grouping symbol, which is a little less known, but we will be using it a ton this year, is the division or fraction bar can be considered grouping as well. Okay. So this bar right here tells us that all the stuff on the top is grouped and all the stuff on the bottom is grouped. So you would simplify completely the top and the bottom before you did anything else. And like I said, we can call this a fraction bar. We can also call it a division bar. Okay, fraction or division bar. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of examples where we're going to practice with parentheses, and then we'll also practice with a fraction bar. Okay, so let's start with negative 42 divided by 11 minus 14. Okay. So typically you would divide first, but now that we have grouping symbols in the mix, the grouping symbols trump everything. You have to simplify that grouping before you go on. Okay, so I'm going to take a look here. So because there's grouping, I'm going to simplify this portion first. Okay. So 11 minus 14 is negative 3. and I will bring everything else down. Okay, and then you have negative 72 divided by negative 3. Obviously, that's the operation you're going to do next. It's the only one that's left, okay, which I believe is 24. Okay, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive. All right, so that's an example with parentheses. Let's go ahead and also do one that has a fraction bar in the mix, and then I'll give you guys some practice. All right. Now, we actually have more than one set of grouping in this example. We have the fraction bar. We also have the parentheses, okay? And actually, I am going to rewrite this because I have a technique that I want to try this year, and I put it up too high. So I'm going to rewrite this over here so that there's room above it and below it, and I'll show you what we're going to do. It may not seem like a big deal now, but we're going to be getting to some really big problems. Okay. So instead, what we can do is we can do the top and the bottom simultaneously because that whole top is grouped and the whole bottom is grouped. So let's look at the top. Because there's parentheses here, this is going to be the first operation that we do. So negative 12 minus 7 is negative 19. Okay. And then you would go ahead and divide that. No, that's weird because I thought this was going to be a friendly one. Oh, I see. I wrote the problem down wrong. This is supposed to be addition. Boop. Boop. Okay. And now what we're going to do is that last operation. So we're going to do 45 plus negative 19. Which will be positive 26, okay? So we have the top down to one number. Now we're gonna work down for the bottom. So 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. Now we can rewrite this as 26 over negative 2. So we simplified the top by going up at a diagonal like this, or like a upside down triangle, and we simplified the bottom by going like this. I think that's the best way to keep our work organized, because I used to just have them rewrite the fraction bar over and over and over again and go down, but I think that if we simplify the top completely going up, simplify the bottom completely going down, when we get to a number here and a number here, we can rewrite our fraction, okay? Well, we can actually simplify this further, right? Because what's 26 divided by negative 2? Negative 13. There you go. Okay. So let me give you a few examples to work on your own, or some practice problems to work on your own. This one I'm going to write a little bit lower so we have room to work on the top and the bottom. Okay, go ahead and try those. I'll walk around and let me know if you need some help, okay? And once you're done too, I recommend that you check solutions with your neighbor and just make sure that you guys both have the same answer. take a look at this. On this first one here, like I said, you always do that grouping first. Okay, so, ooh, flying pen. All right, so -8 plus 2 is -6. Bring everything else down. Okay, a negative times a negative is a positive. Well, first of all, we have multiplication and addition. And we do want to make sure that multiplication is done first. Okay, so -2 times -6 is a positive 12. And then I bring this last portion down here. And then 12 plus 40 is 52. 52. Everyone good on that? Yes? Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is one of those ones where we're going to work up and work down. Okay, so we have addition and multiplication. So we want to multiply first here. So 5 times -3 is -15. Bring everything else up, just like it was. I do put parentheses around this just because I want to separate that the plus sign and the negative there, okay? And then the last thing, -12 plus -15 is going to be -27. Okay, so we got that down to one number. Then let's do the bottom. We have subtraction and a grouping here. So I'm going to take care of my grouping first. So 6 minus 7 is -1. Bring everything else down. Okay. And now -4 minus a -1. Remember, subtracting a negative is the same as adding. So this is really -4 plus 1. So this should be -3. Okay. Now we're left with -27 over -3. Negative divided by a negative is 27 divided by 3 is, there you go. Y'all feel like you can be successful on this? Yes. Okay, I'm going to give you some time to work on your homework then. I'll put the table of contents up to you. Let me. If I can find your binder, what do I do with it? I'll be right there, Charlotte. I see you.
Your checker, do you want us to keep the answers as a fraction or turn them into an actual number?
What does it say on the top?
It's like -8, fraction 8.
You need to reduce that. Yeah, turn it into a one number if you can. Make sure you guys are reducing everything completely up for the answer checker, okay? So order of ops. Today we did grouping. Homework number 11.